Where the following 9 upcoming horror flicks are concerned, it truly feels like things could go either way. On one hand, there are clearly some intriguing ideas and visuals worth considering, not to ignore the talented cast and crew involved. But there are also some nagging elements worth keeping in mind. Ultimately, none of us will know for sure until we sit down and watch them for ourselves. But for now, these films exist in a limbo of possibility where they can still be incredible or downright awful. So I'm Gareth, this is What Culture Horror, and here are 9 upcoming horror movies that could be amazing or terrible. Number 9, The Woman in the Yard. The Woman in the Yard is the new Blumhouse-produced horror film starring Danielle Deadwyler as Ramona, who discovers a mysterious woman in black appearing in front of her home. The title character certainly strikes a haunting, elemental image, and there's no doubt that the ever-reliable Deadwyler is going to put on an acting clinic, but pretty much everything else is at the mercy of a coin flip. Basically, is this going to be the good kind of Get Out style Blumhouse production, or the Night Swim, Imaginary, Truth or Dare style Blumhouse movie? Director Jaume Collet Serra's filmography is all over the place, from the solid likes of Orphan, The Shallows, and the recent Carry On, to the less stellar House of Wax and Black Adam. Meanwhile, the script is the first major writing credit for Sam Stefanak, or Stefanak, I'm not sure, I'm sorry. So that doesn't really provide us with any more insight into the film's potential quality. At least with a tight 88-minute runtime, The Woman in the Yard seems unlikely to outstay its welcome either way, so it won't be a massive amount of time wasted if it's crap, but it'll be a short treat if it's good. Number 8, Scream 7. It wouldn't surprise anyone if Scream 7 was something of a roughshod mess, given that original stars Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega departed the project in late 2023, after which the In Case of Emergency Neve Campbell glass was smashed, bringing the series' original heroine back after she sat out Scream 6 due to a salary dispute. The script has been once again handled by Guy Busick, who co-wrote the 5th and 6th films, while somewhat intriguingly, franchise creator Kevin Williamson will step into the director's chair for the first time in the series. However, for all of Williamson's talents as a writer, his single previous directorial effort, 1999's Teaching Mrs. Tingle, was a critical and commercial flop. So that is worth bearing in mind here. Then there's the recent announcement that Scream legacy stars Matthew Lillard and Scott Foley will be returning to the franchise, despite their characters having died eons ago. A decision that's either going to cleverly subvert expectations or see the series totally jump the shark. While Scream 7's high-profile developmental woes make it hard to have sky-high expectations, it definitely wouldn't be the first time the series had spun gold from a fraught production. So we'll just have to wait and see what stabs its way into cinemas. Number 7, Soulmate. The success of Megan prompted Blumhouse to start developing a wider universe based on the IP, beginning with Soulmate, an erotic sci-fi horror in which a recently bereaved husband acquires an AI love bot to cope with his grief, only for things to predictably turn disastrous, because of course they did. This film will live and die by its tone. If it can embrace the campiness that made Megan such a viral hit, then this could very well be a fun, more adult-skewing addition to the unlikely franchise. Though writer-director Kate Dolan's debut feature, You Are Not My Mother, was anything but funny, Soulmate has been billed as a knowing homage to 1990s erotic thrillers, and so will hopefully serve up a nostalgic slice of sexy genre silliness, as is so rarely produced these days. Who doesn't love a bit of sexy silliness? Given that the story was co-written by James Wan, it'd be surprising if it took itself much too seriously, at least. After all, how humorless can a movie called Soulmate really be? Number 6, Final Destination, Bloodlines. Yeah, it's tough not to be immediately wary of the upcoming 6th Final Destination film because of its title alone. The annals of horror history are littered with terrible sequels bearing the subtitle Bloodlines. And that any studio would release a horror sequel with that word in the name in 2025 shows a staggering lack of self-awareness. or a ton of confidence in the end product. Could be either. Final Destination has admittedly been gone for way too long, and the first trailer for the new film actually looks pretty damn great, teasing one of the movie's Rube Goldberg-style deathly set pieces. Yep, it's a doozy. Directors Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein have solid filmmaking chops, and there's surely plenty of desire to see the late great Tony Todd reprise his role as mortician William Bloodworth one last time. Furthermore, rumors abound that Final Destination 2 star AJ Cook may also make an appearance in the sequel, which would certainly be catnip to longtime fans of the franchise. Look, Final Destination movies don't exactly need to reinvent the wheel to deliver a fun time, but it remains to be seen if the series can retain the edgy creativity that made it a hit 25 years ago. Wait, 25 years ago? Time, slow down. Number 5, Return to Silent Hill. The Silent Hill video game franchise is enjoying something of a resurgence right now, and fans are also finally getting a third cinematic adaptation. Return to Silent Hill is a standalone adaptation of Silent Hill 2, with the original film's director Christoph Gans returning to helm. Now, on one hand, Gans' original Silent Hill remains one of the best and most faithful video game movies of all time, even accepting its many flaws. On the other, Gans has been pushing this boulder uphill for more than a decade, and the film's teaser trailer released last year polarized the fanbase, many noting that it was clearly produced for a far lower budget than the $50 million 2006 movie. Christoph Gans' enthusiasm to get Return to Silent Hill made is absolutely undeniable, but whether all the production elements have come together to deliver on his vision is another matter altogether. It could go either way. If you're finding this video about upcoming horror movies that could either be great or terrible quite interesting, well then hit that subscribe button down below and you'll get even more What Culture horror videos like this one in the future. Number 4, The Black Phone 2. The Black Phone was one of the best studio horrors of 2022, and like just about any horror film that grosses more than $150 million worldwide, a sequel was soon enough greenlit. Studios like money. However, many question the necessity of The Black Phone 2, given how thoroughly the central concept was tied up at the end of the first movie, namely that Ethan Hawke's serial murderer, the Grabber, was killed off. I mean, that alone makes it easy to be skeptical about the sequel's potential, especially as it will seemingly be a direct continuation featuring most of the original cast, even a returning Hawk. It's easy to appreciate how a standalone sequel might have been the better route to go here, without even getting into the general unevenness of director Scott Derrickson's filmography. But it's also entirely possible that Derrickson has found a clever and unexpected path forward to expand the intriguing mythology of this world. And if nothing else, we're probably getting another banger Ethan Hawke performance out of it, and who doesn't want that? Number 3, Anaconda. There were surely few horror fans screaming out for a reboot of the Anaconda franchise, which launched with 1997's campy Jennifer Lopez starring box office hit, before spawning a glut of increasingly wretched sequels and spin-offs. The setup for this new take on Anaconda is just weird enough to be interesting, even if it could very clearly fall flat on its Anaconda face. Rather than opt for a cheap and cheerful reimagining, the new Anaconda is a big budget affair starring Jack Black and Paul Rudd, but will pivot from the action horror tone of the original into a more overt comedy horror vibe, which makes sense considering the central casting. Funny guys. Given that Black and Rudd recently teased the film in a profanity-laden message to fans, the implication was clear that Anaconda 2025 will be a gleefully R-rated affair. The film is meanwhile being directed by Tom Gormican and written by Kevin Etten, who previously teamed on the hilarious The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I bloody love that movie. So there's clear potential there. At the same time, would it surprise anyone if this ungainly mixture of ingredients was ultimately a bewildering mess? Probably not. Number 2, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Horror legacy sequels are all the rage since Halloween 2018 hit it big, and up next is a follow-up to 90s slasher series I Know What You Did Last Summer. Though 1998's second film, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, was a box office flop upon release, there is still a fair degree of nostalgia for the original duology. While most tend to ignore 2006's standalone direct-to-DVD sequel, I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, the upcoming fourth film will be a direct sequel to I Still Know What You Did premiered last summer, focusing primarily on a young, new cast with original stars Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. appearing in a supporting capacity, not unlike the legacy cast's roles in 2022's Scream requel. Given that the franchise has arguably never delivered a truly good movie, it is reasonable to be a bit hesitant about this decades-later follow-up, which could end up more along the lines of 2022's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a limp legacy sequel that fails to justify its existence. On the other hand, every previous movie that filmmaker Jennifer Caton Robinson has either written or directed has been well received, so the odds appear to be in her favor. Number 1, Terrifier 4. Whatever you think of it, the Terrifier franchise is one hell of an impressive achievement. From the origins of its $55,000 budgeted original to the astronomical box office success of Terrifier 3, which grossed over $90 million worldwide, franchise creator Damien Leone soon confirmed that a fourth entry into the franchise was in development, which he claims will also be its last. And while it's reasonable to expect more lashings of creative gore and another winningly expressive performance from lead David Howard Thornton, Terrifier 4 could also mark the point at which the wheels finally come off the Enterprise. Terrifier 2 and 3, for all their praise, were criticized by some for their indulgent runtimes and loose approach to lore that could reasonably be deemed nonsensical, with Leone promising that Terrifier 4 will both reveal Art the Clown's origin story and deliver an emotional and satisfying conclusion to the series. It's entirely possible that the film is simply a chaotic car crash of dissonant, ambitious elements that don't gel together. After all, how many horror movies have faltered by over-explaining the mythology of their central antagonist? A lot. But at the same time, if Leone can land the plane with a surprising origin story for art that enhances the overall quadrilogy, then millions of fans will definitely be there for it.